Welcome back, all my rockstars, to another episode here in Jurassic Craft. So we have a lot of things we need to do today and a few things we need to cover before we get working. So, number one, we have expanded the Triceratops cage. You can see these things have gotten massively massive. And yes, I didn't mean to say that like that. And so we extended their cage out by a good, I think, 10 blocks in this direction. And when we come down to the other corner, you remember that little extra spot we had just because I was trying to make it more natural. And, oh well, I need to fix this bit of the cage here. I think that's from where I broke it when I was trying to fix the cage. Okay, no big deal here. No big deal. But I made this more of a square too, so it would actually, make sense overall. So, I mean, it works. It now fits them. And yeah, so that is a big bonus. Moving on to the next one. As you guys can see here, the bridge has been revamped. It looks a lot better. I mean, it's not perfect. I think the birch really stands out very awkwardly, but it's still better than what it was. So I will take that. You can see we have two different cages over here. For some reason, why do we have two different cages over here? Well, first of all, if you remember, we have the raptor cage, which, guys, it is not fun at all, actually, because so the raptor could constantly try to get out and climb the walls and kill himself and whatnot. So I had to revamp the cage. I dug it down about 3 blocks, and I added trapdoors so he couldn't climb over it and end up killing himself or even escaping once he had enough health. So that was a bit of a issue. And then we have our boy, the good old Allosaurus. So this guy, if you remember, was originally in that cage right there. But because of many reasons, specifically starting the fact that he broke out, so I had to get another DNA since we had a bunch of extras and regrow him. So I sat on here probably about 3 hours rebuilding this cage, because since he can break blocks, it's not that easy. He cannot break, though, the reinforced glass from the fossils and archaeology mod, which is very good, but he can still break behind the glass by 1 layer. So this is actually 2 layers of glass, then the stone bricks, and because of it all was improvised, it doesn't look the best from the inside. I mean, it still works, and we're done with the cage. I'm not working on it anymore. It works. He's here. There we go, the Allosaurus. So that is everything that I think that we need to do to catch you guys up. So now we're gonna go ahead and get into what we're doing for today. Okay, guys, so our main goals for today are going to be working on the Stegosaurus DNA using the old cage from the Allosaurus, and eventually we will have to expand that a little bit to make room for the Stegosaurus because he's going to be wider, and it's not going to be good because it's just a really long skinny cage. So it's a poor design on my part. And then we're going to be working on what I assume is a brand new carnivore as well, the Ceratosaurus. Ceratosaurus. I don't know how else you would say it. So we're gonna go ahead and throw these guys in the analyzers. And I think I plan to use this guy in the last episode for the next episode. I guess I'm gonna use him soon, because I hadn't realized I had put that DNA in there. Coolios. That means we have a Dinosaurus egg, which I don't want to do yet. So we'll throw him in here because I want to work on these guys. So Stegosaurus and that thing is now going. So we need to start working on the good old Ceratosaurus cage because we have the baseline for the Stegosaurus cage. We just have to make it wider, which isn't a big deal at all. So for the new carnivore cage, because I'm tired of trying to say that name, I've already put an outline here. You can see it's a big hole. It's gonna be with it's just like the Allosaurus cage, but it's gonna be a lot cleaner, I think. Well, at least especially now that I'm gonna have time to work on it and everything. So that is kind of our mission right now. We're gonna build it extremely deep, so I don't have to worry about the dinosaur being too tall or him being able to hit anything I don't want him to hit. For example, you can see there's a weird gap here because there's glass underneath. That's because the Allosaurus is just tall enough to reach where that dirt is basically and hit where I would have the stone, even though it's only a single layer, so it could work out here instead of the double layer from the glass. So yeah, that's kind of the reason it looks the way it does. So we got to make sure we don't have that type of mistake here again, and one of the reasons I'm super happy to be able to redo the cage. But now that I know, it might as well just be building big holes for cages. It makes it a lot nicer. Not really, it's really painful overall because that means I don't have to worry about the size as much for the fences. But the issue with that is that there are no upgradable fences, and the fences might look stupid at top of the cage, and in reality I think it looks nice because it makes sense. You're gonna have an electric barrier or something at the top of the cage and whatnot, and we're gonna be building more intricate cages later on. so we can actually, you know, come in here and visit, because I want to create like a pathway, like a diamond square with glass, so we can actually walk over it. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and basically repeat this cage over here, but in a much better fashion. Okay guys, so we're making some real progress on the cage here. You can see that I'm going for the double layer once again here, so 2 layers of glass and then some stone bricks, and this is how far we've gotten so far. I've got the edge sketched out, and I think we're gonna go a couple blocks deeper. The only big problem with building a cage like this is putting everything down. Literally getting all the grass replaced, getting the dirt replaced so everything looks nice. Digging it all out is not fun at all. I've broken my shovel once again, and it's not nice, but we're making some real progress, and it's actually going to be really cool, I think. I just gotta make sure I make this deep enough so I can make the top look nice, unlike the Allosaurus. So it's definitely going to be deeper than what it currently is, or probably than the Allosaurus cage, but we're coming real together, and hopefully, even if we're wrong and this dinosaur is, you know, quite small for a carnivore, that means we can probably just put 2 in here so we can have a more active cage-like system. So okay guys, as you can see here, we've got the baseline done for everything. So now we're starting to dig out the double layer for the glass in the stone bricks, which is really nice. Now this is 6 deep versus the Allosaurus cage, which is about 4 deep, 5 if you count the top layer that he can still technically destroy. That wasn't very nice. So as long as this isn't bigger than the Allosaurus, we should be completely fine with this, and the cage is plenty big enough. So right now we're just going to work on putting our 2 layers of glass here and whatnot so it doesn't break, and hopefully you can't break through more than 2 layers, because that would make it really difficult and painful to rebuild everything. But once we do that, we can put the stone bricks behind it and get everything going to the proper form that we want it to. And I also realized because of this, we need to figure out how we're going to feed this guy, just in case he becomes anger issues with us. So that's one of the reasons we need to do that for the Allosaurus too. So I think once we're building this guy's cage and we get him hatched and going, we're going to work on that before we work on the Stegosaurus cage in a little bit. Because I think for the Stegosaurus cage, we're just going to plant him down, let him grow up, and as he's, you know, hatching and whatnot, we're going to slowly expand the cage so it makes it easier on ourselves instead of doing it beforehand, because there's no reason not to conclude those two. For a baby Stegosaurus, that cage is plenty big enough to start off with. Okay guys, now we've got the basic cage finished. I like this pathway that I've done. It looks really nice. It's kind of awkward, but at the same time you can still see plenty of the cage. There's a little bit of spot over here. This is so not only can I feed the Allosaurus, because you can just drop food, the raw meat into him if the auto feeder is empty, which I'm gonna have to work on a bunch of them. But I can also just check them out from around this area, and it's really cool. So I'm super glad I came up with this. It looks nice, and then at the same time, I did the same thing with the Allosaurus cage, but with the Allosaurus cage, because it was so short, it's just all glass, so it doesn't look nearly as nice, but that's fine. So we need to set up the rest of this cage, starting out with the electric fence poles, and then everything else, including the wires, which are the worst part. The wires are so annoying. It takes so many of them, and I don't care that it takes so many of them. It's the fact that they're so annoying to be able to put down, and it really sucks sometimes. But I think this cage turned out a lot better than the other ones overall. I think I might replace that last dirt layer right there with some stone brick or something instead, so it looks a little bit nicer, but I don't want to have too much of the same overlapping theme with the stone bricks on top of each other. So I don't know if I'll decide of a different block or not, or I'll just leave it, but I think we're just gonna leave it for now. So it's time for us to go ahead and start working on these wires and whatnot so we can get working on this. And I did mess up the cage again, but at the same time, I've spent so long working on this cage, guys. I don't want to take the time to re-level out the land and everything, because that's annoying enough as it is, and I have to do that as enough for each cage as it is. So it's time to go ahead and continue putting these wires down, and hopefully we will have no Velociraptors or anything waiting for us back at the house, because I have not checked on it ever. I've not checked on it this entire time. Now, this should be a doorway, you might think, but since we're so far above it, and I don't expect him to be taller than the Allosaurus, it really shouldn't make any difference at all. Okay, guys, so both incubators are here. There's no water, so I think we got extremely lucky. And yeah, a Stegosaurus egg and a something egg. That's all right. Okay, so now that we have the 2 eggs, let's go ahead and come down, and we're gonna start placing them in their beautiful cages. So Stegosaurus is pretty obvious. We have a cage set up. Obviously, we're going to have to expand it at some point or another, but for now, it's just a little baby, so we don't need to worry about it. So it doesn't need too much room. So let's go ahead, let's put this guy down right here, and here we go. We can go ahead and get him processing, and now we can go ahead and make our way over to the other section, because he's going to take a little bit to warm up. So with him doing that, we can go ahead and go to the next cage, or enclosure if you don't want to say cage because it's a little outrageous, and put this guy down, a Ceratosaurus. I don't know how to say it, and I'm giving up on it. But here we go. Let's go ahead and make a little bit of an exit down. I did make me a pathway up and down as well, and it's still behind the 2 layers of thick glass, and there's a layer of glass here as well. So I'm hoping that this protects this entire section of it. So with this down, we've already prepared the torches. Let's go ahead and get this guy going, and let's see how these guys hatch and turn out, because I'm super excited to see this. I like this cage a lot. I think it came out extremely well. It's a much better improvement of what the idea for the Allosaurus cage when I had to rebuild it was. I just need to, now that I've got these 3 cages close together, I'm going to have to make the next cage a little bit farther away to add a bit more of dynamic to the part, to keep it flowy and flowious. I think that makes sense, flowy and flowious. And I think soon enough we're going to have to get another water dino so we can actually use this river at some point, and it's going to add a bit more of a better dynamic to everything. But let's go ahead and let's see what our Stegosaurus is going to turn out to be, because he's obviously going to go ahead and hatch first. And there we go, everyone. Look, it's a cute, I don't want to shoot it, cute little Stegosaurus. Aw, you're so cute, aren't you? And you're a little bit hungry, so let's go ahead and feed you, my dude. He is so cute, look at him. And he's definitely going to need a much bigger cage, I'm pretty sure. Especially if we want to add a second one, because I like doing that with most of the herbivores, because I think it adds a bit more of a lively dynamic to the series. But let's go ahead and let's check up on our new boy. So I do have some raw meat on me. I'm assuming because he's a baby, he's not going to be able to attack me right away. I mean, the Allosaurus doesn't always attack me. Actually, he hasn't attacked me yet. That's because I keep him in a good mood and well fed. And so that helps. And oh, look, it's our buddy here. Hi, you're so cute. Baby Ceratosaurus. I still can't say it. And yeah, obviously a carnivore out of everything. Not surprised there. He's pretty hungry actually, and he controls with the bone just like the good old Velociraptor does. So let's go ahead and feed this guy up, and there we go. He should be all full now. Perfect. So we got our 2 brand new dinos for today. I hope you guys all did enjoy this episode of Jurassic Craft. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, especially if you want to see more episodes with a lot of new dinos. And I'll see you all later, Rockstars. Peace.